mommy do my two-step.
Hey guys, welcome into our live stream here. Wanted to cover a tweet that was actually sent out by PFF Fantasy Football, and I had responded to this tweet, and then I did that last night, and then Kyle texted me this morning and was like, oh, hey, saw your response on that, and I was actually a little surprised by your answer. So I thought we would jump on here and kind of discuss why he was surprised by the answer, and then kind of talk through who maybe he would have said or what he expected me to say and why. So what do you think about that, Kyle?
Yeah, so looking at the tweet, you've got it pulled up there. I've got it on my screen as well. 6 running backs there, all rookies last year. All had interesting seasons in one way or another. Most of them didn't come on until the very end of the year. I guess Robinson and Gibson were probably the most consistent from start to finish. But at the end of the year, you started seeing some coaches start to have some confidence in the other ones, Taylor, Dobbins, Swift, and Akers, you see there. At one point or another during the season, I owned every single one of these guys and either got them late, got impatient and got rid of them, or some way or another. I did end up with Gibson and Akers on my final roster, but
you didn't trust your crystal ball enough. You should have stuck with them, huh?
I didn't, because I had Dobbins and Swift out of the draft, and then I just got impatient, and I ended up just dropping them. I didn't even get nothing for them. And then I traded for Taylor early, thinking, oh yeah, I'm sneaky early pickup, little buy low candidate, and then held on to him for several weeks. Ended up getting impatient with him. Thought I had a chance to make a run at the title. Traded him for Miles Sanders, and their production basically flipped on its head the exact week that I made that trade. Taylor went off for like 20 points that week, and I think Sanders got 2 or 3 or 5 or something like that. It was ridiculous.
I remember that.
Yeah, and I was kicking myself the rest of the year about it. Akers, I think I got him off waivers real late. And then Robinson I picked up right after the Fournette trade.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and you ended up trading him to me in a deal later on, and then I flipped him. I kind of did a sell high before the playoff run in our league because he had a tough playoff schedule. So I did a sell high there and actually flipped him in my deal to get Aaron Jones, which ended up helping me win the championship for sure.
Yep.
So,
yeah.
Good stuff.
So, after I saw your response on here, I assumed most people are going to look at this and they're going to be like, okay, Robinson was a stud all year. Taylor is basically every fantasy expert's darling since the draft last year, that he was going to be this amazing workhorse running back. And he did at the end of the year kind of take off. And so most people are going to pick Taylor and Robinson. So when I saw you put Dobbins and Akers, Dobbins makes sense. He was also highly touted out of the draft, especially going to that run-first offense down over in Baltimore. But they just had too many mouths to feed last year. Now with Ingram in Houston, Gus Edwards is still going to get some touches. If they're smart, they'll quit letting Lamar Jackson run quite so much.
But that offense is run heavy. I mean, that is their focus. And, I mean, to me, I saw at the end of last year, Dobbins was just going off. It was opportunity. And I had him on my bench because my starting 3 were Derrick Henry, Aaron Jones, and Austin Eckler. So I wasn't playing Dobbins over any of them. But Dobbins was still going off on my bench. He was scoring points. So, I like him coming into this next season. quite a bit, honestly. I had someone Instagram messaging me, DMing me last night, and he asked me who my sleeper for this next season was, and Dobbins was my answer. I think that he's still pretty low in a lot of rankings, and I think that's going to make him overlooked. I mean, I think his ADP is way lower. So I guess I'm counting that as a sleeper per se. I think people are going to overlook him.
I'd say he's undervalued. I wouldn't necessarily think he's a sleeper.
Right. It was a safe option as a sleeper per se. Sleepers are kind of a silly guess. That's like last year. If someone had said Robinson was a sleeper, then I mean, kudos to them, But
nobody was calling for that because nobody thought Fournette was going anywhere.
But I think Dobbins is just going way too low. I think he's way undervalued, and so I think that's that. Now Akers might be. I think that is kind of a surprise coming from me, like you said, because of these others. But just walk you through that. I mean, Taylor, they got Mac coming in now, and I think that Taylor is skilled, right? And he showed that no problem. But bringing Mac back in and having to also, they've got Nyheim Hines, or however you say his name, and then whoever else. I mean, they are such a committee, and I think that's on purpose. I think they know what they have in Taylor, but I think they're afraid of overusing it and wearing him down, as are a lot of other teams with their running backs. I mean, they go running back by committee. They know they have a stud, but they want to preserve them and extend their career a little bit. If that's their mentality, Taylor's kind of screwed. And then
Nyheim Hines was effective enough as a pass catcher that they don't have to have Taylor catching passes, even though he's very good at it also. Save some hits. Yeah.
It's gonna be a hot hand 49ers backfield, and to me that's gonna be so irritating. There's no consistency there. And when I'm looking at a player that I want on my fantasy team, it's consistency. Those boom bust players, they will kill you. I mean, I've had it so much with these boom bust players, and man, it is so risky and irritating. But man, when they boom, it's so satisfying. But when they bust, it's so irritating.
It's true. I want to take a quick sidebar here before we continue. Shout out to Big Dave Football over here in the chat on Twitch. He's lurking. We don't have our alerts set up on Twitch. We haven't done that yet, but appreciate the $5 dono. Hey, lay off the hat, bud.
He's loving your hat. Look at that, Big Dave Football hating on the hat.
He's a Packers fan, so he's hating on it big time.
Oh, he can do that. Okay,
his team got our coach fired once, so we'll allow it. We'll allow it. Thanks for swinging in, though. Yeah, hope your stream's going well. Hope your viewer games are going good over there.
Yeah, Big Dave, he's a big supporter, and we really appreciate him.
He's a bro. He's a Call of Duty streamer over here on Twitch, so go check him out.
I love it. Football and Call of Duty. What a stud.
Yeah. We'll have to get you on here sometime, Dave. Chatting with us about football, about your Packers and stuff.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, check him out on Twitch. Check out his stream for sure.
Absolutely. Go drop a follow. Doesn't cost you a penny. Go do it.
Cool, guys. Let's get back to this really quick. I'm going to move on to Robinson on this list really quick. Actually, I'm going to go back to Taylor really quick because I want to point out some of the other things that people are saying on here, some other responses. And so I just want to point out this very first one, and this proved to be a little controversial. This guy said, those who are not choosing Jonathan Taylor, this is Elite Drafters. Those who are not choosing Jonathan Taylor, seriously? Top 5 gosh, I can't talk. Sorry, guys. Top 5 offensive line in NFL, age 21 years old, rushed 250 yards and 2 TDs in an NFL game. 3 2,000 rushing yard seasons in college. Crazy. 50 TDs in 3 years in college. Rookie year and half season totaled 1,500 yards and 12 touchdowns. Listen, he makes some good points here. Or he, she, I don't know who Elite Drafters is. Maybe it's a pool of people. I don't know. Either way, the problem is, and he gets called out down here, he goes off with a lot of stuff, a lot of cool stats, yeah, but he's mentioning his college stats. That's where he's getting
Right.
all of his justification for this. And I've seen way too many great college players not do jack squat in the pros, and vice versa. People who weren't anybody in college, Tom Brady, are the best ever. So I have a problem when you're talking about someone's college stats. They're in the pros now. Show me what you can do in the pros. That's what I want to see. I could give a crap what you did. Look at Justice Hill with Baltimore. I mean, he's now he did great, and now he's their third string running back. I mean, it's a different game, and it depends on what your coaching staff does with you. He does have a great offensive line. I totally agree with that, but he's also in one heck of a committee, and that's scary to me. There's a lot of great running backs in a committee, and that kills them.
He's in a committee, but I also want to make another point about him. When you look at last year's games, he was very average in that committee until the last 5 games of the season.
Mm-hmm.
He played Houston, Las Vegas, Houston again, Pittsburgh, and Jacksonville. Pittsburgh's the only legit running defense in that entire group. The other 4 were bottom 5. So that plays a factor into those amazing numbers at the end of the year too that you have to think about.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of a big deal. You got to look at that opponent on that.
Yeah. I mean, totally. He had probably the easiest running back schedule in the league that last 5 weeks.
Yeah.
So that's definitely going to play a part.
Not saying he's not good, just saying these aren't necessarily justifiable stats.
Right.
But this person's pretty serious about it, and they were very offended that people weren't necessarily agreeing with them. But it is what it is. I mean, okay, let's head back up here. That's just one thing I wanted to talk about on Taylor, because, I mean, that's important. Okay, Robinson. Robinson did good for Jacksonville last year, and he did good for us in fantasy, no doubt about it. But for some reason, that coaching staff wants somebody else, it seems like, and that can't be good for fantasy teams.
No, their GM came out literally a week before free agency opened saying they wanted to add somebody else to the backfield.
Yeah.
That's a bit of a bummer for anybody who was hoping he would be a workhorse again next year. But
yeah, that's going to be a no from me, dog.
Yeah, I'm going to take a hard pass. Plus, he plays for Jacksonville. Like that's.
I mean, well, now hold on. That could change around with the new coaching staff and everything. Like Jacksonville,
it's possible, but
maybe they won't be out there playing just to have fun now. Did everyone have fun in this game?
I mean, you saw how Dallas did the first year with a new coach, so it's not always positive in the first year.
That's very true. Okay, so that's what I have on Robinson. Gibson. First of all, he's a Redskin, so do I want him on my team?
Oh, no. He's a football team player.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
The artist formerly known as Redskins.
I don't like that football team. Unfortunately, that football team's really improving in the offseason, and that makes me have feelings. But aside from that, Gibson is good.
He's very talented, very talented.
But again, I just don't trust that he's going to get the touches.
Peyton Barber's not going away. Who's that? Who's the other one? Was it McKissick?
Yeah, McKissick. He's catching tons of balls.
Both of them are coming back next year, so he's still going to be in a committee also.
Yep, not a big fan of that.
He'll be more effective, just like Taylor, with his touches than the other guys in that committee, but they're still going to try to keep him, keep that wear and tear to a minimum if they can.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and when they took him, they talked about they were comparing him to McCaffrey and things of that sort. But if that's what they really think about him, if he's really capable of that, then they need to showcase it more. And that's what got everyone pumped about him. And then they didn't use him like that, and it was just a big womp womp,
Right.
So, okay, Dobbins. We talked about Dobbins. Swift.
Dobbins, just briefly, he is still. All of these guys are going to split carries at least a little bit. That's just the game that we play now. Like they all split carries. Nobody is 100% of the carries anymore. Dobbins is going to lose some, like a series or two here and there to Gus Edwards. But when you think about his workload potential in a run-first offense versus these other guys in a three-way committee, you're looking for touches, and he's got more touches with the same elite production level. So
Well, and let me touch on this too. Baltimore seems to be able to run the ball a lot late in the game. Garbage time, they're up by a good amount of points because that offense is pretty good. They put up some points, and sometimes they're winning by enough. And that's when, Dobbins would get maybe 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. So it's trash, but I'll take trash. I don't even care.
Hey,
I'll take it.
Fantasy players love garbage time.
Points are points. I'll take them. Absolutely. All right, you ready to move to Swift?
Yeah.
What do you think about Swift?
I think he also came on a lot better towards the end of the year once they stopped giving carries or as many carries to Adrian Peterson and I forgot the other guy's name. Crap.
Boy, we're really good at this game.
Dude, I just completely brain farted the other.
Hey, we're not claiming to be experts.
No. Not by any means.
We're here to have fun.
But if you'll give me 30 seconds, I can figure out his name.
We have a viewer here. Does the viewer know who else is running back there in Detroit?
Dave don't give a crap about the Detroit Lions. He's a Packer fan. We talked about this.
Well, we went from 2 to 1. I'm guessing that might be Dave that's still with us, Big Dave.
Yeah, he's big lurking right now.
We bored the other person out. Either that or their wife was yelling at him for being on YouTube.
Yeah, I was curious if Shane would stop back in tonight or not.
I guess he has another life. All right, let's see. Have you figured this out yet? Who else is in that backfield right now?
Kerryon Johnson. Jeez, why couldn't
there you go.
Why couldn't I remember that? It's Johnson. It's such a common last name. I couldn't remember it. So yeah, he stopped getting. He started getting more of a bigger piece of that pie towards the end of the year, and we kind of saw what he could do with it.
Yeah.
He went from, small workloads. I'm looking at it here. He went from small workloads to double digits in the last 4 games and started having much better production. But he was doing it against better teams, too. Tampa Bay was no slouch. Tennessee was no slouch. Green Bay, Minnesota, they're okay against the run. But, he was getting – it was a lot better than a lot better competition than what Jonathan Taylor was doing over there on his bottom 5 running back schedule. So
yeah,
I think I think he's going to be really good next year, but I still would not place him. I wouldn't pick him out of this group.
Right.
He's like, let's see, if I'm looking here, he's probably number 4 on my list after Dobbins, Akers, and Taylor.
Yeah.
I think Robinson and Gibson are the last 2.
Yeah.
When it comes to just work.
And I would put Robinson probably as my last, and then Gibson over that.
Yeah, and Robinson currently is probably more towards the top.
Yeah.
But if they add somebody later, like they're talking about doing, then he instantly goes to the bottom, I think.
Yeah.
Because a split in that offense is not going to be productive at all.
Yeah, he'll tank like a Josh Jacobs or a David Montgomery value.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
That's a whole nother discussion, though. So, cool. So, yeah, I feel the exact same way on Swift, and that's just a wait and see kind of thing. I don't dislike him. I just don't put him above Dobbins, Akers, or Taylor, essentially.
Yeah, agreed.
Cool. So Akers, I know he was tearing it up at the end of the year, and didn't they ship off Malcolm Brown left, so that opens up more carries for him,
Right.
and he's got a better quarterback to open it up for him.
Yeah, he started getting a lot more carries at the end of the year. Brown and Henderson both got hurt. And so he started getting more carries, but even once they started getting healthy again, he was still, kind of dominating that backfield. He's super talented. They obviously drafted him to be their guy. They made the big trade for Matt Stafford, which is going to double at least the production of that offense and the potential of that offense. And then, they yeeted Malcolm Brown off to the Dolphins. And so it's just him and Henderson. I could see Henderson getting some work, but I think Akers is going to be their guy.
I think you're right.
Their workhorse guy. Which, on another quick side note, I'll cover probably in another brief live stream at some point. He's on my Roll Tide roster, so that will have to factor into my keeper selection. But yeah, we'll talk about that on another stream. I won't hijack this one.
Yeah, I think that's going to be interesting for you. You'll have to measure an ADP on that and see where you stand with him as a keeper for sure. Yeah. Like I said, that's a whole nother video, but that'll be fun. Anyways.
Yeah, because I got one that's a no-brainer, and the other two are pretty similar current kind of ADP.
Yeah. So
it'll just be weighing those against each other, and it could be a fun little quick stream.
Totally.
Yeah. Well, another time.
So let's see. We kind of landed on Dobbins, Akers. Taylor could be in the mix there. What was your final pick? Mine was Dobbins, Akers. What's your final two?
I think
Akers, Taylor.
Yeah, I think I would still go Akers, Taylor, even though, I know we just had this whole discussion about the difference between Dobbins and Taylor. I guess for 2021, and it depends on how you look at it, because it just says pick two for your fantasy team. Well, for this year, I probably would go with Akers and Dobbins. But if I'm looking at keeper leagues and dynasty leagues, I'm probably leaning Taylor.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be more productive long term. I think he's going to be a better overall running back long term. But
okay, I can agree with that. That does make a difference if you're thinking that way.
Yeah, but for 2021, I like Akers and Dobbins.
Yeah, I like that thought. All right, let's see what other people. I just want to go through some of these other replies and see what other people are thinking. People are arguing over that. Let's see. Gibson, because he's really dynamic as a pass catcher. Also, I'm torn between Swift and Taylor, but I guess I'll go with Taylor. But all of these guys have elite talent and potential. That's weird. He's a Buckeye fan and didn't go with Dobbins and any of that. Good for him. Here's another guy, Akers and Dobbins.
Well, Gibson is from Ohio State, isn't he?
Do what?
Isn't Gibson from Ohio State?
Did I have? Yeah, sure, probably. Maybe that's why. Akers and Dobbins, why? Because they play for the best two teams on the list and both have very little competition at running back. Taylor would be third. Yeah. Yeah, this person. Gus Edwards and Lamar Jackson don't count as competition for Dobbins. Fantasy Whisperers. Good call out there, because that's very true.
Nope, I was wrong. Gibson's from Memphis. I was way off base. McLaurin's from Ohio State.
Who is?
McLaurin, isn't he?
Oh, probably.
Or am I wrong on that too?
No, you're probably right on that. I don't know. No question about it. Taylor and Dobbins all the way. Dobbins and Taylor getting a lot. Taylor, of course, getting a lot. Taylor and Akers. Oh, I would have said Taylor and Akers before the Colts re-signed Mack. So now Gibson and Akers. People still have a lot of that hype on Gibson is keeping people hanging around. It's just keeping them hanging.
Yeah, McLaurin's from Ohio State. That's what I was thinking of.
Cool.
Yeah, dude, there's a lot of hype on Gibson. And I just, the talent's there, but the workload's not. That one guy that said they all have elite potential is 100% right.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's all about touches and opportunity.
This person makes a great point. Honestly, is being able to see the schedule an option? Well, a good point. Look at their schedules coming up. I mean, you
It
kind of
does.
touched on that earlier. Of the schedule makes a difference, and
It
that's
does.
that's so true. I mean,
It does. And probably
this guy
with
wins the internet up here.
running backs more than anybody. Because the receiver, all it takes is one big pass,
Yeah,
and they've got 10 points all of a sudden. Running
yeah.
backs tend to have to grind it out a lot.
This guy
So
also makes a good point. I mean, full PPR, half point PPR, and standard scoring is different.
it's true. It's true. Most of those guys are catching some passes, though.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't think
Most
any of
definitely.
these guys didn't catch passes.
No, I don't think so.
Some caught more than others, but they all can catch. Taylor will lose some catches to Hines uh, and stuff like that, but Gibson will lose them to McKissick, and then we'll have to see what happens with the others, I guess. But as of now,
Yeah. Hmm. I don't know. It's interesting. It's so mixed. It's so mixed.
everybody's got a different opinion. That's
Well,
why there's
because you
no
know
such
what?
thing. That's why
Because
there's no such thing as a true fantasy expert, because
right,
everybody
fantasy
has a different
football
opinion for
is
different
all a
reasons.
guess. It's all a guess, and it's all luck. That's fantasy football for you, and that's why it's so fun and so frustrating all at the same time.
Yep, it's
That's
all
why
about.
every Sunday I get hyped, and then about an hour in, I swear that I'll never play fantasy football again. And then by
You just
the end of Sunday, I'm loving it and can't wait for the next week.
you're just playing the odds. You're putting yourself in the best position to win. As our friend Austin would say, play the numbers.
Play the numbers.
Just play the numbers.
Absolutely. Cool. That's all I got on this. Shout out to PFF Fantasy Football for letting us use their post for a chat here. That was a good post. Appreciate you guys. Good tweet
And thanks again to Big Dave Football.
for sure. And we've had a couple other viewers drop in. Not sure who you are, but thanks for dropping in. And
Absolutely.
next time, join in, say hey, and we'll talk to you guys later.